I mean, when you travel and you have different passions, right? Like for example, people who likes diving, every country they go, they try to find like, okay, is this a nice diving site? And then the mentality is different, right? Like your mentality is that, oh, I have to find somewhere to dive in this place to know the place, right? And then there are people, I even met people who are into fitness. So they go to every country and the goal is to maybe go to a CrossFit gym or go to like a F45 training center or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I reckon for horseback riding or someone who has passion for horses is also the same, right? Every place you go, you try and figure out like, is there like a nice trip here that I can do with a horse, or like, to go to a 4 days trip to a volcano or something, and the things you see kind of varies across what you choose as your passion or your goal when you travel.
Yeah, definitely. And depending on the terrain can really change your ride and depending on the type of horse you're riding. Um, so for example, if it's very mountainy like Bhutan, you might not gallop as much because they're climbing up steep mountains. But they're like little mountain goats. Like you're in
Mhm.
shock some of the steep things that they're going up and down and you're just holding on to them. Um, and then in other countries, like when I was working in Egypt, it's all desert. And I literally every single morning I was working at a polo club at the time, and we would take the horses a loop around the Abu Sir pyramids. That was their exercise plan. So every morning for an hour, they're like, go to the desert and ride these horses around the pyramid and come back. And that was my morning. And it's the desert. So these horses are fresh, they're feeling good, they want to run, you want to run, and it's just like so much fun. And I would race a lot of the local Egyptians. And again, here I am, a blonde woman, and I'm beating them, and they find it hilarious because for them they're like, oh, it's a woman, and but then I beat them, and they're like, whoa. So yeah, you can go really fast in places like that. So yeah, every country and every place that you see, it's different. And experiencing it on horseback. So I own 2 horses now, and they are actually started traveling with me on these adventures. So my horses have now been to I think 3 or 4 countries.
Wow.
um, and my husband and I, so I taught him how to ride. So he was kind of like you. He didn't know anything about horses. He was actually an engineer. He's very smart, so he has a
Uh-huh.
lot of information, but like he is not good at sports at all. He has no reflexes. Like if I throw something to him, he can't catch it. And I taught him how to ride horses. And at first I was like, oh no, this isn't going to work. But he loved it so much. And he loves to gallop now. That's like his thing that he loves to do. So he has his own horse now. And so we had this crazy idea. We were like, okay, we have horses. We were living in England at the time. We both always wanted to go to Ireland. So we brought our 2 horses to Ireland and we spent 2 months riding them across
All
Ireland.
across the country. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
across
Wow.
we didn't have any plan. I bought these 2 really cheap saddlebags off of Amazon. My horses had never seen those before, so I kind of threw them on their back and saw how they reacted, and they were both fine with it. So I was like, "All right, we're going on this trip." Um, Anyways, so yeah, we were basically knocking on strangers' doors, asking for a place to stay every single night, which is a little bit stressful. But
Yeah.
the Irish people are very friendly, so most of the time, we always found a place, but most of the time they would know somebody in the next village, or they would try and hook us up and like refer us to someone or whatever. So it was a lot of fun. But the one thing that I remember is I feel like human beings, our brains and our eyes are not meant to process the world at 60 miles an hour, like
Mhm.
driving in a car or in a train or in an airplane. Like our brains are not designed like from caveman days to process the world that fast. And suddenly here I was on my horse, and we were only walking because we have saddlebags and stuff. And every single day for 2 months, that's all we did. We got on our horses in the morning, we started walking, and in the evening we stopped riding and we would pitch our tent or whatever, and then we would do the next day the same thing. And I just remember like everything was in slow motion, and I could actually look at things and see things, and it was like my brain could finally process the scenery. And
Mm.
it was a very interesting experience. And when you're on a horse, and we have in one day we would ride about 30-35 kilometers. So we would look at this big hill or mountain or whatever, and we're like, today we're riding over that mountain and on the other side and then down into the valley and blah next to the ocean. And you would kind of start riding, and 5 hours later you would look and you would see the mountain, and you're like, wow, like a few hours ago I was at the top of that thing. And
Yeah.
suddenly like the perspective of distance, it kind of takes on a whole new meaning. So it
Wow.
was it was very interesting. And that was just walking. That wasn't even having the fun of galloping and cantering around, which you can usually do with horses. So
Yeah, it sounds like you're almost seeing a different world when you're on the horseback, right? Compared
yeah.
to when you're hiking or something.
Yeah, definitely. I think of like how many details would I have missed? Like, all those little small ruins or those little buildings. Like, how many of those would I have driven past and saw it for a second, and then it would have been gone from my memory forever? But now I saw it like, at 3 miles an hour. Like, it's ingrained in my memory.
Hey guys, thank you for watching. If you'd like to listen to the full podcast conversation, click on the video here. And please don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel for more awesome content. See you next time.